As World War II reached its fiercest phase in the Pacific, the US Navy needed more than just warships. It needed a new symbol of modern naval power. That symbol came in from the Essex-class aircraft carriers. These were not merely warships, but mobile air bases at sea, carrying dozens of aircraft, hundreds of crew members, and the ability to shift the tide of any battle. From Pearl Harbor to Iwo Jima, the Essex class took part in nearly every major operation, becoming the backbone of the US Navy. These ships not only survived the war, they came to dominate thanks to advanced designs, mass production, and a forward-thinking strategic philosophy. But what made this class of carriers the backbone of the US Navy for decades to come? The birth of the Essex-class aircraft carriers marked a profound shift in the US Navy's strategic thinking, drawing on lessons learned from the Lexington and Yorktown classes. Navy leadership realized they needed a new generation of carriers, larger, faster, and capable of carrying more aircraft to meet the demands of a global war that was growing ever more intense. Previous carriers, while effective, were still limited by post-World War I naval treaties, agreements that had become obsolete in a rapidly changing global order. Recognizing this, the US Navy began developing the Essex class as a revolutionary leap forward. The first ships were ordered in 1938, but it was only after the outbreak of war in the Pacific that the urgency to expand the carrier fleet truly surged. Essex was not just an upgraded model, it was a brand new design optimized for modern warfare. The ships featured high-speed, large air group capacity, and powerful anti-aircraft defenses. But most importantly, they were built for mass production on an unprecedented scale. In total, 32 carriers were ordered, with 42 completed and commissioned into service. One of the most notable innovations of the Essex class was the portside aircraft elevator. This new configuration freed up central deck space, allowing planes to be fueled, armed, and prepped for takeoff without obstruction. As a result, launch and recovery cycles were significantly faster. An essential advantage in high-intensity naval battles, the combination of optimized design and large-scale production made the Essex class a symbol of American industrial and military might, ushering in an era of US carrier dominance across the world's oceans. When they officially entered service in 1942, the Essex-class aircraft carriers quickly became the backbone of the US Navy and a symbol of America's wartime industrial might. These were modern war machines, designed not just to survive but to dominate the oceans. With a standard displacement of around 27,100 tons and over 36,000 tons when fully loaded, each Essex was a massive steel fortress carrying a floating airfield. The overall length reached 266 meters, and the flight deck spanned nearly 45 meters in width. Ample space to operate multiple aircraft simultaneously and sustain constant combat operations in the harsh conditions of the Pacific theater. The ships were powered by a system of 4 steam turbines, producing a combined 150,000 horsepower, driving 4 propellers and allowing the carriers to reach speeds over 30 knots, about 56 kilometers per hour. For a vessel weighing tens of thousands of tons, this was an impressive figure, enabling the Essex class to maneuver with speed and flexibility, keeping pace with fast-moving task forces and shifting quickly between distant battlefronts. To operate such a colossal ship, each carrier required between 2,600 and 3,400 personnel, including officers, technicians, flight deck crews, weapons specialists, logistics staff, and naval aviators. An immense team functioning as one synchronized machine. The most distinctive feature of the Essex class was its ability to deploy a powerful air wing. Each carrier could carry between 90 and 100 aircraft of various types, including fighters, dive bombers, and torpedo bombers, effectively functioning as a compact floating air base capable of dominating the surrounding airspace. An efficient elevator system with 2 lifts along the center line and 1 on the port side allowed aircraft to be quickly moved from the hangar to the flight deck, enabling continuous takeoffs without interrupting operations. This design not only saved time but also significantly increased the frequency of strikes, applying relentless pressure on enemy forces, an essential factor in battles where speed of engagement could decide victory. To counter aerial threats, the Essex class was equipped with a formidable multi-layered anti-aircraft defense system. 2 mounted 5-inch 38 caliber guns supported by dozens of 40mm Bofors and 20mm Oerlikon automatic cannons were densely arranged along the hull. Together, these weapons created a deadly web of fire capable of intercepting enemy aircraft at various altitudes and distances. At the height of the kamikaze attacks, this dense air defense network helped the Essex carriers hold the line, shielding not only themselves but also other ships in the fleet formation. Another remarkable feature of the Essex class was its combat durability. Throughout World War II, none of the 24 completed ships were sunk in combat, a testament to their structural resilience and high effective damage control systems. Ships like the USS Franklin, which suffered direct hits and heavy casualties, still managed to survive, remain afloat, and return to port under their own power. This was not only a technical achievement, but also a vivid reflection of the fighting spirit and exceptional organization of American naval crews. After World War II, the Essex-class aircraft carriers were not retired but continued to play a central role in major Cold War conflict. When the Korean War broke out in 1950, many Essex carriers, then in reserve, were rapidly recommissioned. They became the backbone of U.S. naval aviation, carrying out thousands of sorties for air support, logistical disruption, and strikes on key enemy targets. The USS Essex CV-9 served 3 tours and was awarded 4 battle stars. Beyond the battlefield, the Essex class also played a prominent role in the US space program. Several ships were selected as primary recovery vessels for NASA missions, thanks to their mobility, modern medical facilities, and spacious flight decks. The Essex-class aircraft carriers were more than instruments of war. They were symbols of an era in which the United States rose to global superpower status. Driven by unmatched industrial capacity and forward-thinking strategic vision, the greatest legacy of the Essex class was not measured by the number of battles fought or aircraft launched, but in how they fundamentally reshaped the world's understanding of the aircraft carrier's role in modern warfare. For the first time in history, a nation could deploy multiple aircraft carriers built to a standardized design, operating in sync as components of a global strategic machine. This laid the foundation for the concept of carrier strike group power, where each ship was no longer a standalone warship but a critical link in a highly coordinated combat system, offering unprecedented reliability and response speed. No other nation had achieved this before, and to this day, only the US Navy maintains a carrier force on such a scale. With the Essex class, the US Navy also embraced full-scale standardization for the first time, from ship design and construction lines to the trainings of pilots and crews. This dramatically reduced deployment time, minimizing operational errors, and maximized combat effectiveness. The lessons learned from Essex deeply influenced the entire American defense industry, shaping practices in shipbuilding, aircraft production, and large-scale military logistics for decades to come.